for being here with us today, Barbara. We welcome you to our second edition of our Symposium of Human Rights and Religion of the Caribbean. As you know, we did a previous one in 2017, and now this is the second edition. So now with this said, could you please tell me what are your expectations for today's event based on our subject of this year?
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I love the school. I'm a human rights specialist. I have been trained as a human rights practitioner. And I spent a lot of time professionally working on children's rights, women's rights, and more lately I've become involved in religious liberty in a personal capacity. The subject matter is important, not as important in the Caribbean as it is in other parts of the world, because in the Caribbean we're more laid back, everybody's happy, that kind of thing. But there are other parts of the world where religious liberty is really a matter of life and death. As a human rights specialist, I believe that anyone's right that is violated means all of our rights are violated. And that's why, as a specialist, my role, my passion is to promote the respect for all human rights, hence respect for religious liberty. In terms of my expectations, obviously I hadn't attended the first symposium, so I wasn't sure what to expect. But I do anticipate that we would have an opportunity to discuss in a collegial manner. I do anticipate that coming out of this, all of us who participate and all of us who will read about the results of the symposium will be a little bit more knowledgeable about other people's religions, but most importantly, that there will be some progress in advocacy in terms of acceptance of difference and diversity in religious persuasion. I have found in my experience that Caribbean people are very religious. They're not necessarily good people, but they all go to church, or they go to the mosque, or they go to the temple.
They know Christ.
Yes, they go. And because so many people adhere to a religion, it's important that we know about one another's religions and that we accept the variation in the way we worship. So far, there has been that dialogue, obviously. In any conference, there are usually too many speakers, so there's not a lot of discussion. So there's a little bit of that going on. But I think that in the corridors, over tea, over coffee, over lunch, we've had an opportunity to meet other people, to learn about what they think, to hear a little bit about their passion. So it's been all very positive.
Yeah, with that said, how could you relate, this subject to your professional life?
Okay, so I'm an educator by profession, but I'm also a human rights specialist. One of the things I've been doing in my own university, I started 3 years ago, and that's significant. I established 4 committees. One of those committees was to look at the right of the members of our university to the expression of their religion. And after 3 years, we still don't have the report. That in itself is indicative of the context in which we operate. And so part of what I want to do is to make sure that in my own country, but also in my region, that there's a higher level of awareness about the diversity in religion, or religions, if you want to put it that way, and the need for us to be accepting. For example, at my university and in many schools, there's one prayer, a Christian prayer. So I'm a Christian, I don't have a problem with it. But if I were a Muslim or a Hindu or an atheist, I'd have a big problem with attending a school where there's a single prayer. So while I cherish the opportunity to have a prayer at school because I'm a Christian, I recognize that that would be very, very uncomfortable for someone who's not a Christian. And that's what we want to try to promote. And I think Christians in the Caribbean, because we seem the largest number of persons, we have to be careful that we see religious liberty not just from a Christian perspective, but really from a human rights perspective. That's my passion.
That's really important. Thank you so much for those words.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being here with us, our second edition of our symposium. So have a wonderful rest of the evening, and I hope you like it.
You too, Hector. I do. Thank you so much.